Townsend versus Krejcikova was one of the craziest matches that I've ever seen. And let me guide you through many of the opportunities that Taylor had to close out this match. And let me provide some conclusions on why this didn't happen and why Krejcikova was able to play so freely when she was down and out. So Taylor came out on absolute fire, winning the first at 6-1. And she's a phenomenal player. Being a lefty and having this much versatility makes her a very difficult opponent. She has such soft hands at the net. It's not a surprise that she's ranked #1 in the world in doubles. And after winning the first at 6-1, she continued to play extremely well, going up 3-1 in the second set. And it is here where things became very interesting because Taylor had 2 game points in this game to go up 6-1, 4-1. And on one of the game points, Krejcikova hit a forehand on the back of the line. She ends up breaking Taylor, and Barbara is down a break point at 2-3. She's able to save this one as well. And both players hold serve, and it's 5-4 Taylor. This is Taylor's first match point. And it is here where Barbara started showing nerves of steel. She hits a huge serve, and then on the first ball hits an inside-in forehand winner. So not much that Taylor could have done there. After failing to convert a match point, it's very common that a player will struggle in their own service game. And Taylor sure did. She lost her serve, and it was now 6-5 Krejcikova, and she was serving for the set. But unlike when she was down match point, she does make some mistakes in this game and loses her serve, and now we're in a tiebreak. And this is where Taylor is playing excellent tennis and goes up 6-3. So she has 3 consecutive match points. On match point number 2, Barbara hits another huge serve, and then on the first ball hits an inside-out forehand winner. So not much that Taylor could have done there. However, on her third match point, she did get a look at a forehand pass. Barbara came in on a down-the-line forehand, and Taylor looked a little bit tight on her pass. She hit it cross-court, but there wasn't a lot of acceleration on that forehand, and she dumped the ball into the net. Match point number 4 was finally on Taylor's serve. And her being a lefty and having a good serve, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to slide a very hard serve out wide with a slice. And this is exactly what Taylor did. However, Barbara, with her nerves of steel, hits an absolutely perfect return right down the middle of the court, this close to the baseline, and Taylor is forced to loop the ball back, and now Barbara starts ripping balls and playing very aggressively. Taylor's on the defense, and she ends up sliding a chip backhand wide. Taylor wins the next point, and she's up 7-6, and she has match point number 5. It's Krejcikova's serve. She hits another huge first serve, but this time Taylor is in a neutral rally, and from behind the baseline, Barbara decides to rip a backhand down the line, and the ball goes very long and very close to the sideline, and it touches the line by about this much. So more of the ball was out than it was in. Was this luck or skill? Well, stay tuned. We're going to discuss that very shortly. But Barbara, after saving match point number 5 in a spectacular fashion, wins the next point on her serve. And now she finds herself up set point for the first time on Taylor's serve. And interestingly here, Barbara misses quite an easy forehand. Barbara wins the next point and finds herself up 9-8, her second set point. And again, she misses an easy forehand. Krejcikova wins the next point, and now she's up 10-9 and has the third set point. And again, interestingly, she gets a second serve from Taylor and misses a backhand return. She follows that up by missing another backhand, and now it's match point number 6 for Taylor. And this next rally was spectacular, and it showed how skilled Barbara is at the net. So just like on all other match points on her serve, Barbara hits a huge first serve, but this time Taylor hits a solid return. And Krejcikova is dictating the rally, and Taylor is playing pretty good defense, but eventually she drops the ball short. Barbara hits a backhand down the line approach shot, and Taylor hits an excellent one-handed chip backhand down the line. Barbara was expecting this ball most likely to be angled short cross court, so she moved towards the right, but then when she saw that the ball was going down the line, she changed direction quickly and hit a beautiful one-handed backhand volley down the line for a winner. Now it's 11-all on the Krejcikova serve, and Taylor plays an excellent aggressive rally. And now she has match point number 7 on her own serve. On this match point, she decided to go for an ace down the tee. Now she hit the serve with slice, so she did put control on it, and she missed this serve by a centimeter. Barbara was nowhere near this serve. This would have been an ace for sure. Taylor gets her second serve in. It's another slice, slightly directed towards the backhand side, but somewhat central. Krejcikova runs around the ball and hits a clean inside-out forehand winner to save match point number 7. At 12-all, Taylor hits a poor drop shot. Krejcikova hits the two-handed backhand passing shot right into Taylor's racket, which gives her a match point number 8 on Barbara's serve. And again, just like all the other match points on her serve, she hits a huge first serve and saves this match point with a service winner. At 13-all, Krejcikova is playing very aggressive and is pounding forehands and hits it again right on the baseline. Now it's 14-13, and it's set point number 4 for Krejcikova on Taylor's serve. She misses the first one, gets the second one in, and Barbara does something that was so courageous. She rips her two-handed backhand central, comes to the net, hits a very clean, deep forehand volley, which puts Taylor in a defensive position. The ball gets behind her a little bit. She pops up a lob. And Krejcikova puts the overhead away and steals this set 7-6 from Taylor. In the third set, the advantage was going to be huge for Krejcikova, but Taylor fought very hard in the set. She did get broken, which gave Krejcikova a 4-2 lead, but Townsend broke back and got really pumped, got the crowd engaged. But then something interesting happened. Possibly the biggest Krejcikova fan on planet Earth entered the stadium and started screaming, "Let's go, Barbara," among other things, louder than I've ever heard anyone scream at a tennis match. This guy had the lungs of Luciano Pavarotti. And I'm not kidding you. Once this guy showed up, Barbara started playing even better, and she ended up breaking Taylor's serve, went up 5-3, and then held and won this match 6-3 in the third. So let me discuss some interesting things about this match, and I just took you through the tiebreak. And the interesting thing about this tiebreak is that Krejcikova did have set points, and interestingly, she was making mistakes when she had set points, but when she was down match points, she played so freely and was hitting one winner after another. And how is this possible? Well, tennis is a very interesting game, and it sometimes can be a mysterious game. And what happens with a lot of players is that when they're up match point, they feel a lot of tension. Some players do tend to get tight when there's only one more point to win in a match. However, if a player is down match point, what often happens is that players naturally play more relaxed. Now, they might not necessarily be in a positive state of mind because they're about to lose the match. They're 1 point away from losing. But that desperate feeling does relax players and allows them to hit the ball more freely with less tension. And this was certainly the case for Barbara in today's match. Now, of course, this doesn't happen to all players, and it very much depends on the circumstance, but it is for sure something that I've seen in all these years watching professional tennis. Now, let's talk about how this loss might affect Taylor. And I did watch her post-match press conference. She seemed in a positive state of mind. And in this instance, you cannot say that Taylor blew these match points or wasted these match points. No. Krejcikova defended these match points. There was not much that Taylor could have done. She didn't really have any looks to close out this match. Possibly that one forehand passing shot, even though it was a defensive one, she would have had to pull out a Rafa Nadal type pass to win that point because she was in a defensive position. And maybe when she had match points on her own serve, she could have maybe done things differently. Serve and volleyed, possibly. But again, she was centimeters, maybe even millimeters away from winning this match. And again, one of the most spectacular tiebreaks that I've ever seen. Now, Taylor Townsend can be proud of herself. She is the number one doubles player in the world, but in this tournament, she proved that she can be very dangerous in singles as well. I read that she gained over 100,000 Instagram followers during this week. She put tennis on the map because I've seen media accounts on the internet talk about tennis that normally don't talk about tennis. So I do believe that in the grand scheme of things, this was not only a positive week for Taylor, but it was also a positive week with tennis because it brought a potential new audience to the game. Now let's discuss the men's fourth round matches. And I've talked about Taylor Fritz in a few of my recent videos, and I said that he hasn't really been playing at the top of his game. But I did say yesterday that if he finds his best tennis against Machac, which he's highly capable of doing, he's going to win this match in straight sets. And Taylor surely found his top level. This is the best match that I've seen from Taylor since Wimbledon. Now, I'm not surprised that Novak Djokovic has raised his level as he gets deeper into the tournament. He played his best tennis in his fourth round victory against Struff. There was absolutely no chance for Jan Lennart. I've talked in the past that Struff is able to break opponents' rhythm, but in Djokovic's case, he likes players who play an attacking style. I think Djokovic struggles more, maybe not so much now, but possibly in the past, against players who don't give him a lot of power. But he likes to play against power players because Novak Djokovic is possibly the best counter puncher in the history of tennis. Now, he's not only a counter puncher, he can also play very aggressively. And one shot that's helping Novak out in 2025 is his serve. And I talked about his serve early this year prior to the Australian Open. And he is serving better than before for sure. And especially in the last two matches, Novak's serve has been excellent. And he said in the post-match interview on the court that he was proud to have out-served Jan-Lennart Struff, who has one of the best serves in the world. So if Djokovic shows up in the quarters playing this level of tennis, what does Taylor Fritz need to do to finally beat him? Well, it's obvious that Taylor is going to have to play the best tennis of his life. He has played some tight matches against Novak, but despite that, he hasn't won a single one. He is 0-10 against Novak. And there's absolutely no way that Taylor will go into this match with confidence. It is such a horrible feeling to go into a match against someone who you are losing to a lot. Just imagine yourself playing someone that you lost to 10 times in a row. Will you have confidence that you're going to beat someone like that? Absolutely not. But Taylor will certainly try. Taylor is going to have to serve at the top of his level and try to get these sets into possible tie breaks. He needs to then, once he gets the set into a tie break, win the clutch points, which is not so easy against Novak. But one thing about Novak this year that's interesting is that he has a losing tiebreak record. Of course, we know that Novak wins important points when they matter the most. So some of these stats are from tournaments that are not at the Grand Slam level. For example, him losing those two tiebreaks against Machac in Miami or the tiebreak against Berrettini in Doha. So I think the only chance for Taylor is that he plays at the top of his level and that Novak catches an off day. Whether that's going to happen, I have my doubts. And like I said, prior to the tournament starting, I think Novak will make the semifinals. Alcaraz won in straight sets against Rinderknech, who after Wimbledon played another solid Grand Slam tournament. He's a great player, big serve. And he did trouble Alcaraz a lot more than his previous opponents. He took that first set into a tiebreak, and then Alcaraz started playing better in his return games and got a break in each of the next two sets and won quite comfortably at the end. But he's going to have a huge test against Lehecka, who took out Mannarino, and this is a great result for Lehecka. But if Lehecka plays the way he did against Mannarino, with ups and downs, he's going to struggle against Alcaraz at the Grand Slam level. Now, Lehecka has taken out Alcaraz this year in Doha, and he also played him in the final of Queens, where he took a set off of him and lost 6-2 in the third. But Alcaraz at the Grand Slam level is a different beast and way more difficult to beat. So in Lehecka's fourth round match against Mannarino, there were some ups and downs. Now, he did have a chance to win the first set more comfortably. He had some chances at 5-4. They got into a tiebreak. He was down in the tiebreak initially, but then ended up winning it. He played a solid second set, but then all of a sudden he went down 5-love in the third. He ended up getting a couple of games, and then he went down 2-love in the fourth and almost 3-love. Now, he got the game at 2-love and then rattled off 5 consecutive games and ended up winning the set 6-2. Again, a great result for Lehecka, but his biggest weakness is that he's up and down. He is a very powerful player, has a humongous serve, humongous ground strokes, and he's extremely dangerous. To beat Alcaraz in the quarters, he's going to have to play the best tennis of his life, and also Alcaraz will have to have an off day, and I just don't see that happening. I got Djokovic against Alcaraz in the semis.